Hello everybody, this is Daniel Babis from Daily Soap Dish. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below. We cover a ton of 90 Day Fiancé and other reality TV. Alright, let's get into it. So today we have another Andrei and Elizabeth video, Andrei Castrovet and Elizabeth podcast. We are going to be talking about them. This couple is kind of becoming one of the more popular couples on this season of Happily Ever After, and perhaps not for the right reasons. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Andrei. So I am a little triggered by what is going on between this couple. I'm a little triggered by Andrei's behavior towards his wife Elizabeth. I am not a fan of it. I know a lot of you out there are not fans of it either. It is chauvinistic. It is perhaps slightly sexist. It's verbally abusive, and it's just not cool. So let's get into it. Andrei has been berating and verbally abusing his wife on this season of 90 Day Fiancé and in the past. This is nothing new. This is kind of something we know about him, but I feel like it is more exposed now than ever, and I feel like this couple is not really able to handle the criticism, and they are not able to dispel the rumors of verbal abuse, which perhaps can be a sign of other kinds of abuse or mental manipulation. And so there are a lot of issues with this couple, and we talked about it in a previous video a couple of days ago, that Andrei and Elizabeth came on Entertainment Tonight, did a video to try to kind of appease all these rumors, and they completely failed at removing these doubts, these questions that people have that Andrei is abusive towards Elizabeth. Elizabeth, of course, came across like she was making excuses for her husband's behavior. Her husband Andrei was tiptoeing, in fact, just flat out not answering the questions such as when he said that four-letter word, bleeped out word. What was the word? He refused to say it. When he was swearing at her, he kind of refused to own up to his actions and just say, look, I'm sorry, I was a jackass, it was a bad moment, you guys caught me in a bad moment. He was refusing to take any responsibility whatsoever, and instead deflected it all onto his wife Elizabeth. He even said that Elizabeth can behave just as bad, if not worse than me, when we're in private, when the cameras are not rolling. So Andrei refuses to take any blame, completely deflects all of it onto Elizabeth. Elizabeth is making all kinds of excuses for Andrei, and Andrei just, like I say, he is not willing to take responsibility. He's not owning up to it, and based on the fact that, he knows that what he's doing is wrong, but he shows no remorse. Based on that fact, in my opinion, this is behavior that has been going on and will continue to go on. Andrei shows no signs of slowing down. Now, I do want to talk about two things. So, who exactly is this Andrei guy? So, we're kind of digging into his story right now. So, he is a guy from Moldova. Andrei also lives in the US and has lived in Ireland, and he definitely comes across like, like he is not a stupid guy. Like, he is able to learn norms and understand right and wrong, and understand that he is now living in the US. And also Elizabeth explains to him, how things are and so on and so forth. So I don't buy this excuse that Elizabeth is trying to sell, which is that Andrei is this is just who he is. It's his culture. He's a man. He's a strong man. I don't buy any of this baloney. Now, I want to get into another thing. So, when Elizabeth kind of met Andrei, she fell head over heels for Andrei, and she described Andrei as a prototypical alpha male. Now, I have an issue with that. Yes, Andrei plays a good game for the cameras, but he is not an alpha male, and I will tell you why he is not an alpha male. Because this guy can get a job. He can provide for his family, and he shows no intention of changing. Just yesterday, he was questioned about it, and Elizabeth told him, yeah, I do want you to get a job, and Andrei is still refusing. He shows no signs of changing that behavior, even when his own family were shocked. They were in complete shock that Elizabeth is actually the breadwinner in the family, and Andrei is just very content with being a stay-at-home dad and does not want to work. He just wants to play video games, just like Elizabeth's brother put it. And of course, if you watch some of their videos during their quarantine, you'll see that they have a PS4 at home, so they definitely indulge in some video game playing. But that's not the behavior of a typical alpha male, which is what Elizabeth referred to Andrei in a video on the TLC YouTube channel from about 2 years ago. Oh, he is an alpha male. You know, he's the definition of an alpha male. He is 6'4", he has muscles, he works out. This is the prototypical alpha male. Well, I got news for you. That's not what an alpha male is. An alpha male is a guy that gets stuff done. And that includes providing for himself and for his family. It's a guy that doesn't depend on anyone to get where he wants to get in life. And that is not Andrei. Andrei actually fits more the definition of a beta male. A beta male is someone who is a follower or who needs other people to do stuff for him to get him where he wants to be. So my theory is that Andrei has got Elizabeth fooled into believing that he is this domineering alpha male, when in fact that is just a facade that is crumbling right now, right before our very eyes, and all we have is this nothingness, this beta male, reality of Andrei, and Elizabeth just does not want to accept that. Andrei does not want to work, he does not want to provide for his family, and Elizabeth, I don't know, she just doesn't want to accept that. So I have an issue with this whole picture of Andrei as this manly man, this strong persona like Elizabeth has said. He just doesn't come across strong at all to me. He can't provide for himself. He berates and abuses his wife publicly, which is a sign of insecurity, by the way. An alpha male is not someone who is insecure. It is someone who is very sure of himself. Now, Andrei does play a good part into kind of conveying this confidence, but someone that is confident and secure, they don't resort to berating and abusing their wife or any other woman in public or even not in public. It doesn't matter. That is just not the behavior of a leader, of someone that is strong, self-assured. That is not how they behave. However, this is more the behavior of someone who is insecure and someone who is gaslighting. Like I said in my previous video, my theory is that Andrei, he is using this manipulation technique on Elizabeth, which is gaslighting her. He is putting her down and he is trying to change her worldview about what she believes is accepted and what is normal. And he is trying to change all of that, put all these doubts in her head about how she is just as bad as he is, and that his behavior is really not that bad. It's just sometimes, things escalate and it's bad. And of course, it just so happens that it's caught on camera, but Elizabeth can be just as bad, and other phony baloney stuff. I don't buy any of it. It is ridiculous that Elizabeth is falling for it. I hope that she can see through it. Now, here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. So, like I said, he's insecure. He uses his phony machismo to convey this impression of success, dominance, and whatnot, like an alpha male, which is, by the way, what Elizabeth said, not me. It's what Elizabeth said. But this is the other issue that I have with this couple. So Andrei basically is a leech and a parasite on the US system at this moment. He has no job, and all he does is he is leeching and sucking away the money of Elizabeth Pothass's family without doing or providing anything of value to the US system. So this is an issue, I have to say, because we have seen before that Angela Deem was trying to get Michael Ilisami to the US, and the government kind of had issues with it because they wanted to make sure that Michael wasn't scamming Angela. Well, I have to say that right here in this very couple, we have a clear scam going on. Andrei is scamming Elizabeth and her family out of money each and every day. Yet, for some reason, this is allowed to go on, and I find it ridiculous. Andrei is a leech, and someone said this in the comments, by the way, and I agree, he is a bit of a parasite on the system. If ever they break up, Andrei should not be allowed to remain in the country. He should be deported back. And honestly, I hope that Elizabeth realizes just what is going on, because it is ridiculous and he is clearly taking advantage of her. So I am not a fan of what's going on. I do hope that Andrei can change, but so far what we have seen is not good. And on top of everything else, of course, we have the verbal abuse, which of course is conducive of emotional abuse. We have the gaslighting, and we just have a very, very bad package overall. A package I'm not a fan of, and I don't think anyone else should be. And I think this whole situation should make people feel uncomfortable, and you know, hopefully Elizabeth can come to terms with reality that this is not something good that is going on. Of course, her behavior right now is typical of someone that is in a somewhat abusive relationship, which is to excuse, deny, and excuse some more of the behavior of the abuser. This is not uncommon. This is kind of what Elizabeth is doing. Her excuses, they don't fly at all. No one buys them. They don't sound believable. They don't sound rational. They're a part of a different reality than the reality of most people that are watching the show. So that is what I had to say about that. I just wanted to kind of dispel all these things that Elizabeth is saying, because I honestly find it completely ridiculous. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy the content. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you guys on the next one.